All right, everyone, today we're going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin price action to decipher the future, give some price targets on where I think things are headed. We'll talk about the altcoin market as well, because I do think some things are going to start heating up over in that sector. And then we'll also talk about traditional finance, because we do see stuff like the S&P about to clear into all-time highs. But let's start over here in TradingView with this chart that has all my levels within it. Let me turn on all of my indicators so you can see a full grasp of things. And we talked about this in yesterday's video, but essentially test point of control, then back test value area high, right? This was just a breakout back test, and now this is the resumption, the continuation up on higher, and I do expect we're definitely going for this high here. We're going to clear into that, and assuming we do, the much higher probabilistic thing to happen is that we come up here, test one of these volume levels, then pull back to value area low, and once you back test this value area low, that will then target a move to value area high up here at around $68,000, $68,500, which is where our previous poor highs are at. So essentially, if this was to play out, you would get to the top of this descending channel that we have here on the charts. And as I've been talking about, assuming we get back up to this line of resistance, I don't expect it to act as resistance because we have so much liquidity built above each of these highs within here, right? Tons of stops over here from leveraged positions that are going to get grabbed. We're going to sweep them. I don't think this is very probable. If we get up there, which it does look like we probably are going to do, because it looks like we're going to accept this range, and that will target that area, that we would go ahead and actually squeeze all the way up past $74,000. And that is the point where we got to be a little bit cautious, right? Will this be deviation, swing fail? Will it be just a straight up swing failure? Will it be a continuation through the level? We don't know yet. We'll just have to take it day by day. But yes, that is where I'll be looking to potentially enter big short positions, of course, just with tight stops, potentially selling my bags depending on what the retail sentiment is like at that point. Right now, we've been talking about the retail sentiment and how bad it is, and we are starting to see the bulls are already coming back in full force, but it's certainly not anything concerning. I'd say there's still more bears than bulls out there. The sentiment is still pretty rough, so I don't mind seeing that, and it is another confluence that is telling me we're probably going to all-time highs. We're not just going to do this bearish retrace. But in worst case scenario, I do think at this point, we're probably looking at a 64,500, a swing failure, like a larger time frame swing failure. This is still definitely a possibility. I'm not ruling this out. So let's be cautious if we do see a big swing failure up here, but I just don't see that happening. I think Bitcoin has entered honey badger mode. We've been talking about how Bitcoin is consolidating for a large move within here, and it was to the upside in my opinion. Looks like we're starting to see that upside move play out, likely going to get over mid-channel trend and should go ahead and send us up on higher there. So that's really good to see. Let's go ahead and pull up all of these levels indicators, because this is something we talked about in yesterday's video. See if anything has been tapped within here on the chart. We can see that we're coming up to some value area highs of, the monthly profile, that sort of thing. We're also banging right up against that mid-channel trend, so we're running into some resistance right now, but we have already kind of rejected this and found very quick support there. Of course, you're not long in any of this, but I would not be surprised for Bitcoin to fire off through these value area highs, to move these profiles up, and for the parabolic rally to continue here, and the shorter term time frame move up to expand out on a larger term time frame, and for us to have some massive green candles coming in here on the chart. But yeah, that's really the story with Bitcoin. Essentially what I've been talking about in my previous videos is starting to play out. We're starting to finally get above all of these volume levels, this big consolidation range. We should be getting back up within these top side ranges, and at that point that should start signaling all-time highs, and I do think this move can happen very, very fast. I think Bitcoin is in an impulsive time in the market, and Bitcoin actually might outperform some altcoins in the short term like it has been doing, but that doesn't necessarily mean the altcoin season will not start to happen right now, especially for specific projects, because not everything runs at once. So even though we jump over here to Bitcoin dominance, and the dominance still looks pretty bullish, got a little bit of a double bottom here. I wouldn't be surprised if this does pop on up one more time. I do think we're nearing the top for Bitcoin dominance, and we should see this altcoin season that we've been looking for quite some time actually play out here on the charts. Will it be like 2020, or will it just be kind of a replication of what happened over here at the beginning of this year? We don't really know yet. Once again, we're just going to have to take it day by day. If Bitcoin does a swing failure of all-time highs, I could see altcoins doing some good numbers, right? We could see something like this play out, but I don't think you're going to see much more than a fractal of this. If Bitcoin can actually fly through all-time highs into multiple six figures, if it is going to be the reserve asset for the US dollar or just a safe haven asset in general for banks and large hedge funds with this institutional buying and ETFs, I would not rule it out of the equation that we could fractal something more akin to this like we had back in 2020, where your altcoins absolutely go ballistic into price discovery. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here. We still got to be cautious on the shorter term time frame, right? We got some big resistance above us. Let's see how this does play out, right? Is this going to reject, or can we get a proper breakout, backtest, and then resumption here on the altcoin market? I, of course, think the latter is going to happen, but we're just going to have to take it day by day, see how these levels do react on the chart. So far, though, this mid-channel trend has been broken, and we are definitely hunting for that level at a bare minimum. Now, let's talk about the dollar, because the dollar is all the way down to the range low already. We had been talking about this, how if the dollar was going to hunt down here, which, I kind of said was probably going to happen after we had this back test of resistance, after we had broken out of this trend we had here on the dollar, breakdown, complete falling knife at this point, all the way down to range lows at around 100 on the DXY. And Bitcoin is still kind of just chopping sideways. It hasn't done anything too crazy. So this is surprising, right? You would expect Bitcoin to have already had its parabolic run up. So I think Bitcoin is going to have a major catch-up game no matter what, right? I think when it does start sending up here, it could go pretty quick because it's going to be catching up to the dollar in the S&P. And then also with this price action, there's a chance the dollar doesn't even bottom at the range lows. There's a good chance these range lows can actually break and the dollar would head all the way down to macro range lows from, before 2020. This is where you're looking to hunt next if you do have a bit of a back test of these range lows. And this could signal, once again, more of a super cycle for Bitcoin where institutions are buying up crypto, they're dumping their dollars, and we could send to multiple six figures. So once again, we're going to take it day by day. Support is support until it's broken. So we are at support for the dollar right now. Could this bounce up? Could that actually be bad for crypto? Absolutely. But overall, there's certainly a ton of weakness in the dollar right now. And I do think with that weakness, Bitcoin is going to play a big catch-up game, and it has plenty of room to run at least to all-time highs. Now let's jump in here to the S&P. I'm going to remove these levels to the downside because they're not really needed anymore. We had been talking about this point of control that we wanted to see held from this previous fixed range volume profile. That was in fact the low, and we do see us head on up here getting back above this sweep level. I said if we were truly bearish, this is where you would look for price to fall below and to not want to accept back above. We now have candle closes above the sweep level. At this point, I would say it is definitely more likely we're going for those all-time highs, but certainly resistance is resistance until it's flipped into support, and we are at value area high. So we still need to see value area high not just fail here. I know the market is closed right now, but if we open back up and price does swing down back below, this could be a sweep of the sweep. We see this on Bitcoin a lot where you have your first swing failure of the main level and then you go ahead and sweep that level a second time. So still could be a topping structure on the S&P with the dollar at support. There's nothing to say we're fully out of the woods, but overall with the strength in the S&P, I absolutely do think all-time highs is next. And of course, when you break all-time highs on an index like this, it is going to be very bullish for all of your markets, including crypto. They are definitely correlated. And what is even more correlated is the Russell 2000 because it's smaller cap stuff. Crypto's majority smaller cap stuff. So what we want to see here is the Russell accepting back within its previous bull market range. Back in 2021, we were in this consolidation period here, and this is where your big altcoin seasons happened. And thankfully, we are back up into that value area low. We had rejected it originally, right? But now getting back up here, I do think certainly probably going to accept this. And once we accept this, the big question is this going to be a ranging behavior in here just like 2021, or can we actually see price discovery on the Russell? I think if we can see price discovery on the Russell, flip this value area high into support, that is where you get a potential fractal of what we had back in 2020. And there is still that chance that really the entire bull run is ahead of us, and we have been in accumulation this entire time, and there really is no big recession or depression for quite some time. But I still am being very, very cautious with unemployment readings. We have that trend up. Unless it just starts going down consecutively, then I am still going to keep my base case as we're going to top out in 2024 and then enter a Great Depression. So we got to keep a close eye on the unemployment rate, which we are actually getting some data on tomorrow, the unemployment claims, as well as September is going to have the real data, the unemployment rate, as well as the FOMC meeting to see what Jerome Powell says about everything. So stay tuned. We still have a lot of information yet to come out. And of course, we got to take price action day by day because it is impossible to predict the future. We can only plan for certain situations and react to the market. So make sure to stay updated here on the channel. And if you do have any questions about anything I talked about or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. Below that link is a VIP Discord specifically for leverage trading, and that is only $20 for your first month. That is a limited time deal only going on through the month of August, so make sure you go ahead and check it out if you are at all interested. And then also below those Discord links are a bunch of exchange links for my exchange partners, which also have limited exclusive deals specifically for those that sign up with my referral link. So don't miss out on that. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.